It's a joy to have this opportunity to be with you here on this Monday, the last Monday of November. We're heading now into the Christmas season. In fact, here at Falls, things are already in full steam ahead. This weekend begins the first of our three spectacular festivals that we'll be having and all the programs. And I would certainly appreciate your prayer as we desire to reach hundreds and hundreds of people with the gospel over these next several weeks. It is a joy to know that God is in control, and I've been trying to encourage you over these last several years to realize that everything's happening just as God said it would happen. We have an opportunity that is really wonderful right now to get the gospel out, and we need to realize that God will do what he said he will do. And one of the stories that I think is so interesting is the story of Hezekiah. Hezekiah was a godly king. God used him to build up Judah, and then you had the great massacre of the Assyrians that was miraculously done by the angel of the Lord. And then Hezekiah was on his deathbed, and he prayed for more time. God gave him more time. But it's so interesting, in that extra time, two things happened that really created major problems for Judah. First of all, Manasseh was born. Manasseh became the king when Hezekiah died, and it was because of his horrendous sin over the 50 years of his kingship that God finally said, enough is enough, and Judah will be destroyed. The good news on that story is that Manasseh did come to know the Lord at the end. God used his imprisonment to wake him up, and I'm sure that was the prayer of his godly father. The second thing was Hezekiah's pride in showing Babylon all of his wealth and riches. And I can't help but think that Hezekiah had his eye too much on himself, wanting to live. He did not accept what the Lord told him, that it was time for him to go home to be with him. And that earthy mindedness, this life is more important than anything else, is what gets us into trouble. So often we're wanting things our way, and we can get them, but they won't be what we think they would be if they're out of the will of God. So the most important thing for us is not that things go well for us, or that our economy does well, or that our country does better. We certainly want those things to occur. But the thing that really matters is, are we in the will of God, and are we accomplishing his purpose, and are we willing to let him lead? And those are questions that we need to continually ask ourselves, because when we get out of the will of God, wanting to accomplish what we want to accomplish, that's when things happen that have long-term consequences. So Hezekiah is a great lesson for us. And let's be encouraged that God's will is always the best, and that's where we will stay encouraged if we'll walk with the Lord.